Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're dissecting the absolutely terrifying and, let's be honest, timeless machinery of George Orwell's masterpiece, 1984, to really get at its stark warnings about power and control. So let's just jump right in with the question that's at the absolute heart of this book, a question Orwell really forces us to look at. See, it's not just about controlling what people do, it's about controlling what they think. This is about total psychological domination. And wow, does that feel relevant today? And here it is. This is the party's answer. You know, this line, it's more than just dialogue. It's the engine. It's the single, terrifying thing that drives the entire system in the book. There's no pretense here. No talk of a greater good. It's just power for the sake of power. Chilling, right? Okay, so let's start by breaking down this world of Oceania and really get a handle on what the party, its rulers, are actually after. Because this isn't just a backdrop for the story. It's a meticulously built system designed for one thing: absolute control. So what does this world look like? Well, we're dropped right into a place of complete and total domination. You've got the party in charge, the face of Big Brother staring down from everywhere, and society is kept in this constant state of fear and war. The key thing to get is that this state, it doesn't exist for its people, not at all. It's built for one reason and one reason only: to control every single aspect of life, history, and even thought. And this is the insight that really sets this whole dystopia apart. Think about it. Most systems, even the bad ones, will claim they want power for something else. You know, for security, for prosperity, for the good of the people. But the party, they're brutally, terrifyingly honest, at least with themselves. Power is the point. That's it. The whole machine is just designed to keep itself going forever. All right, so now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's look at the actual machinery of control. These are the external tools, the visible gears the party uses to enforce its will on everyone. First up, and probably the most famous tool in their kit, is surveillance. Constant, inescapable surveillance. These things called telescreens are everywhere, watching and listening to you at all times. Privacy? It just doesn't exist. And what that does is it completely blurs the line between a private thought you have in your head and a public act that can get you in serious trouble. But here's the really brilliant and terrifying insight. The true power isn't the technology itself. It's not just about seeing people. It's about what it does to their minds. People start to internalize it, you know? It becomes normal to be watched. So they start policing themselves, censoring their own thoughts before they even fully form. They literally become their own jailers. Next step, the party controls the past. It's not just surveillance of the present. They go back and change what already happened. At the so-called Ministry of Truth, they're constantly rewriting history. One day you're allied with Eurasia, the next, nope, you've always been at war with them. A person can just cease to have ever existed. Objective truth is just gone. Reality is whatever the party says it is in this exact moment. And this reveals something so profound. Because if you can control the past, the story of where we came from, you don't just control what people know, you control who they are. Think about it. Without a real history, a real memory, how can you have an identity? You can't. The only identity you have is the one the party hands to you. Okay, so we've seen the external stuff. Now we're going even deeper to what is maybe the most insidious part of this whole system. We're talking about the tools designed to get inside your head, to literally rewire your mind from the inside out. And their main weapon for this is called newspeak. Now, this isn't just a new language. You have to understand it's a weapon. The whole point is to shrink the language, to get rid of words, to strip them of their original meaning. Why? Because if you don't have the words for rebellion, for freedom, for individuality, how can you even form the thought? The idea is, if you can't say it, eventually you can't think. And this all leads to a state of mind they call doublethink. It's a kind of mental gymnastics. It's the ability to hold two completely contradictory ideas in your head at the same time and believe both of them are true. It's how you accept that you've always been at war with Eurasia, even when you remember being allied with them yesterday. It's the total surrender of your own logic. And here we have the most famous slogans of the party, the ultimate expression of doublethink. War is peace. Freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. These aren't just posters on a wall. They are mental exercises, repeated over and over. They're designed to make your brain just give up on logic, to sever its connection to reality, and accept that the only truth that matters is whatever the party tells you. And it's so important to get this. Doublethink isn't about making people stupid. Not at all. It's something much more sophisticated and way more sinister. It's a systematic process to corrupt logic itself. It's about training people to distrust their own eyes, their own memories, their own basic reason. It makes them completely dependent on the party to tell them what's real. So, what does all this actually do to a person? What's the human cost of this total control? Well, we see it all play out through the story of one man, Winston Smith. Winston tries to push back, in small ways. He starts a secret diary, which is a thought crime. He falls in love, a search for a real, private connection. He's just trying to find some shred of authentic humanity, of individual truth. But the system, the whole machine, is built to hunt down and utterly crush that exact spark of resistance. And in the end, this is where he lands. It's maybe the most haunting final line in all of literature. See, the party doesn't just kill him. That would be too easy. They achieve something much more complete, much more horrifying. They don't just break his body, they conquer his mind. They erase the Winston who rebelled and replace him with someone who genuinely loves his oppressor. And Winston's whole journey just proves this one terrible point. The real horror of 1984 isn't the threat of violence, it's erasure. The goal isn't just to control what you do, it's to completely annihilate who you are, to wipe out your memories, your loves, your soul, until there's nothing left of you, just an empty vessel filled with love for the party. So that brings us to the big question, right? Why are we still talking about this? Why does a book written so long ago feel like it could have been written yesterday? Why does it still matter so much? Well, it's because the things Orwell was warning about are all around us, aren't they? Maybe they're a bit more subtle, a bit more high-tech, but the echoes are there. Pervasive digital surveillance, algorithms that decide what information we see, media that feels designed to divide us, the constant battle over what is and isn't truth. The tools are different, but the game can feel eerily similar. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking 1984 is just a story about some crazy futuristic dictatorship somewhere else. But that's not the real warning. The hard truth is that Orwell was pointing to something that can happen in any society. He was warning about the slow creep, the ways freedom gets dismantled from the inside out, starting with how we think and what we accept as true. So the final takeaway, the big insight here, is that Orwell wasn't just trying to scare us with a nightmare vision of the future. He was giving us a blueprint, a warning label, a way to spot how freedom starts to erode. When we get passive, when we stop questioning things, when we just accept the stories we're told without thinking for ourselves. And that leaves us with one final thought, a question that kind of hangs in the air long after you finish the book. It's a question you have to think Orwell himself would be asking if he could see our world today. He gave us all the warnings. The question is, are we listening?